Science can measure a rock. It can measure its length, height, breadth, width, whatever, its size, its colors, and so forth. Science can do that. But what science can't do is tell you that it's a rock. I mean, it can, but that's not strictly science. It's just a meta-scientific projection. A category, abstract category that is made. See. Now, if you look at a rock and you ask yourself, does a rock have a gender? Is a rock male or female? It's pretty obvious that rocks don't have gender. Why would they? I mean, what is gender after all? Where did it come from? Like, ask yourself, in the universe, where did male and female come from? When did they come into existence? Before there were humans, before there were mammals, before there were even fish, they were just rocks. None of them were male and female. And then at some point, male and female came into existence, we sort of presume. How? Where? Where did it come from? You had some molecules. I mean, the sort of standard scientific story is that there were some organic molecules in the sea, and they kind of collided together, and they created little sort of proto-organisms. Were those male and female? No, probably not. Okay, so then that pushes the problem up one level. So then, okay, so we had these little proto-organisms that weren't male and female, and then they turned into like little proto-bacteria with little DNA in there. Okay, so did those already, or were those male and female? Did they have X and Y chromosomes? Probably not. Chromosomes are like something higher order than just regular strands of DNA. So it's like, okay, well then we have to go one more level. Okay, well then at some point, eventually like a bacteria, full-fledged bacteria emerged. It's like, okay, well, was that male or female? Probably the first ones weren't. Okay, but then at a certain point, the bacteria, they became more complex. They turned into very complex, like eukaryotic bacteria. And then those started to differentiate. And then finally, there was some sort of cleavage or division where there's a sort of a specialization. It's like there's one that had a little bit different DNA than another one. And then they all were basically 50-50. Half the bacteriums had this kind of DNA, half of them had a little bit of a different DNA. Not chromosomes yet, but just a little bit different DNA. So were those now males and females? And you will still probably be forced to say, no, not really. I mean, I mean, that's not what we really mean by man and woman anyways. We mean something much richer than that. But anyways, at some point you get to a point where you have like one lizard that's female, one lizard that's male. They have different organs and even different chromosomes. And now finally you say, okay, well, this one's clearly male, this one's clearly female. But do you see how arbitrary all this is? There are no lines, there are no clear lines there anywhere. And the connections you draw between a female lizard and a human woman and a male lizard and a human man, there are some loose connections you draw there. I mean, they can both have penises or whatever, or not. And some of them can have, you know, a lizard, like a female lizard can lay eggs or whatever, or can be pregnant, whereas a male lizard cannot. And you can draw certain similarities, but you see, your mind is drawing all these connections, and how you draw and link different things within reality. This is not a strictly scientific process. This is a subjective relativistic process that is very much biased by what is convenient for your survival, what serves you and what serves your identity. Are you getting this? Are you starting to see how these abstract categories are projections of your own mind? They're not really there. I'm not really a man. You think I'm a man because that's how you're used to thinking about me. And I might even think of myself as a man, or maybe I won't. It depends. Don't assume that I'm going to think of myself the way you think of myself. And also, of course, my idea of a man might be very different from your idea of a man. So there's not just this sort of monolithic single idea of a man and a woman. Each human on the planet has their own ideas of a man and a woman. There's 7 billion different ideas of man and woman on the planet. And most of them aren't very original. Most of them are just blindly indoctrinated into us as children, and we just live with them for the rest of our lives without ever questioning them.